Welcome to Local Matters, the official Laverne podcast. I'm Anne Smith, Public Information Officer for the City of Laverne. Today I have with me City Engineer Gary Lide and Stormwater Coordinator Alex Thompson. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Okay, so Gary, tell me about being a city engineer. What does that do? What does your day-to-day look like?
City engineer, the day-to-day changes with every single day. I try and get in a little bit early, around 7 o'clock, because I've got timesheets to coordinate to make sure that all of the city funds that are sent into the different departments of engineering and stormwater are properly utilized, and I got to double check all of that, then going through the emails and voicemails of the previous day in order to listen for any citizen concerns or anything that's come up during the day that requires immediate action. I spend a lot of time working on hiring consultants and hiring contractors on the different projects that we've got going on. We've got some happening right now. Work with the city planner on reviewing plans for the planning commission for the developments that are going in town. Then we spend time, the codes director, the city planner, the fire marshal, and I spend a lot of time coordinating to make sure that nothing slips in between the cracks between the different departments, because engineering and planning kind of get the first blush. Planning's really first. They look at a new development to say, does it fit the zoning ordinance? Is it the right thing for this neighborhood? And then I get it second, and I kind of take the handoff from planning, and we look at it. Okay, so is the water going to work? Is the sewer going to work? Is the stormwater going to drain off properly? And then it gets handed off again to the codes and fire marshal's office when the building plans come in. So we just want to make sure between all the different departments in the city that we don't miss something in those handoffs. We also do some preparation of plans, smaller projects. We do those in-house. We've got a couple of those ongoing right now, one of which is a fire department training center that we're looking at working with the fire department on. That should be before the Board of Planning Commission this month. We spend a lot of time, oddly, coordinating with Tennessee Department of Transportation, City of Smyrna, and Rutherford County. I've got a meeting this afternoon with Smyrna and found a voicemail waiting for me this morning from Rutherford County. So just those things come up to make sure, because that's all of our borders, and making sure that we don't have one of our projects misaligns with one of theirs. We have a team of inspectors that go out and they look at infrastructure, water, sewer, roadways, and make sure they're all built to city standards to save the city time and money on the way on down the road, so that we don't end up accepting an inferior road and have to dig it up and replace it at the cost of millions of dollars 3 years from now, when they're supposed to last 20, 25, 30 years. We do take citizens' concerns very seriously. When those come in, they either come in on the internet through the city's website, or they come in as a direct phone call, and sometimes people walk in the front door and just want to talk to somebody, and we will write those down, and we usually have somebody out within 24 hours to look at it, and we have an assessment done within 24 to 48 hours to see if the city can do anything, if it's actually a city problem. But we try and tell them, no, the city can't help you, or yes, the city can, and then we work to schedule when the city forces are going to be out there. One of those happened a couple of weeks ago. A church called up and they had a hole in their parking lot. On initial inspection, we thought it was a sinkhole, which would have been the church's problem. But then we did some research, pulled out some files from the 1990s, and found that there was a force main sewer line running directly under that hole. Shane Stott met me out there from the Public Works Department, and we eyeballed it in and said, yeah, our sewer line's directly under there, so we probably did cause this problem. So we worked with the pastor there, and Public Works has started repairing the issue.
So our customer complaints or customer concerns, are those limited to streets and parking lots, or what kind of customer complaints and concerns do you typically see?
Stormwater, which Alex will talk about more in a minute, and then streets are the ones I get the most of. Traffic signals. I had a interesting one not too long ago. A woman called up and said she was sitting at an intersection and the pedestrian light was saying walk at the same time the light was green, and she thought that was unsafe. And I thought, well, it is. I don't think that's possible, but I drove out there, and it's possible. It was when they had done the last repair on that traffic signal, they had swapped two wires, and they had the pedestrian walk sign exact opposite of what it was supposed to do. So yeah, that wasn't good. So we were able to get that fixed within about 24 hours. And the last thing I do in the course of a normal day is permitting, which again, working closely with Alex. And we do plans review for land disturbance permits, which is our version of a grading permit, which you have to have before you dig up anything or even uproot a tree in the city of Laverne. You need to get a land disturbance permit.
What are some of the bigger projects that you're working on right now? Because I'm sure that the city engineer is involved in a lot of those, like the new public works facility. So what are some of the bigger projects you have?
A lot of time is the Public Works and Community Development Services facility, which will house the Codes Department, Engineering Department, Stormwater Department, Public Works Department, IT Department, and Economic Development Department. So those are spread all over the place, stuck into every nook and cranny in the city right now, and will all be in a nice, new, very organized, very efficient structure towards the end of this year. And that one being actively in construction, it takes up lots of meetings and lots of inspection time, and we spend a great deal of time out there. The other big one that people be interested in is the South Waldron Road widening. That one is a very, very large project, widening South Waldron Road all the way from I-24 to the end of the road, Rock Springs Road. And it's going to make that road much easier to drive on and much safer. And so we are just about to start right-of-way acquisition on that. The design process up to right-of-way is nearly done, and we're in the process, I mentioned earlier, of hiring consultants. We're in the process of hiring the consultant to coordinate the right-of-way acquisition on that. Already in right-of-way acquisition is the Blair Road extension, which is extending Blair Road west from South Waldron Road and connecting around to Carruthers, which is a very good road to have, period, but also is vital to getting the South Waldron Road widening done, because we'll need that detour to avoid all the people who have driveways on the Walnut Grove area onto South Waldron. They'll have a lot of trouble getting out of their houses during construction if we don't have that detour. So the Blair Road West extension is ahead of the South Waldron Road widening by about a year. And we're just starting the process of updating of doing a plan to do a comprehensive study of the entire city of Laverne for Americans with Disabilities Act compliance, ADA compliance. So we will be having that on the streets as a request for proposal and advertisement for specialists, hopefully before the end of this month. And we have a lot of people interested in that. So that's a big project that we've been needing to do for several years. It's a federal and state requirement, but we are getting it done now.
And is that for just city buildings, or is that for ADA compliance just across the city?
Across the board. So it's a lot of sidewalks and intersection work. So we have a project in design right now that is taking specific intersections, some of our major intersections on Waldron Road and Murfreesboro Road particularly, and we'll be upgrading those. But this will look at every road in town, as well as all the city buildings.
Okay. So that's one way, but how does the city engineering department really benefit our citizens?
Mainly two things. Our job is to make sure that if anything gets built within the city, that it is properly planned for. For example, a new development by a developer. We've got to make sure that it's properly planned, that it doesn't overload the stormwater system, the water system, the sewer system, and that the roads are proper and that they're going to last and they're going to be well maintained and that they're safe and properly designed. And so we spend a lot of time on that. And then the same thing with our own infrastructure projects, overseeing those, making sure that the city is getting the most bang they can out of their taxpayer dollar so that we're not wasting money, wasting time, and we're building an efficient yet meeting standards project on every road we build, every building we build in the city.
Just kind of making sure things keep going in a orderly fashion.
Correct, because the best engineer in the world you've never heard of, because people don't ever point at something that an engineer did and said, that's a great job. That's for architects, and that's fine. They can have it. Engineers are supposed to be completely silent. You've never heard of them, and that means there's no problems, and that's our goal.
Okay. Well, so you also oversee the stormwater department, so that's, Alex, where you come in.
Hello.
So tell me about your job. What's your day-to-day look like?
So stormwater is similar to engineering, that it's in the same department where it's very different every day, but a lot of things kind of repeat. We do a lot with citizen complaints. That's probably the most common thing that I deal with every day, where if somebody has a problem, we want to be able to coordinate our stormwater crew to be able to go see it, get a work order put in, and then get it repaired. So that's pretty frequent. But we also, there's two different sides of stormwater that we try to handle. And the first is quantity. So we try to prevent flooding, or we try to prevent there being an overabundance of water in areas. We want to make sure that the system is flowing and water is always able to find its way into a water body, like a creek or a stream. And we also want to deal with quality. So stormwater is really important when we're trying to protect the health of our waterways, because everything that, or all the water that touches the ground basically is going to flow through a pipe or a stream untreated and go immediately into our waterways. So what stormwater does is we try and mitigate any pollutants. So a lot of what we do day to day is try to prevent different things like oil or grass clippings is a big one, actually, like to prevent those from getting into our like storm drains, to make sure that things aren't clogged up or that those aren't causing like some type of blockage downstream. We also have, so any of those pollutants are called illicit discharge. That's when something is illegally being discharged into the waterways. So we spend a lot of time day to day trying to make sure that anything that's making its way into the water is just water. We don't want oil, sewage, dirt. All of those things are different types of pollutants that we try to avoid putting into our waterways. We also spend a lot of time working with the engineering department to do permitting, where we talked about you have to have a grading permit. So if somebody's going to come in and they're going to clear out trees, that means that they're taking all the roots out. So all of that soil is now loose and it doesn't have anything holding it in place when it rains. So we spend a lot of time working with contractors to make sure that their site is going to be protected from sediment leaving that site. So the intent of installing like erosion control devices is so that we can make sure that all of the dirt that started on the site stays there during construction. Yeah, those are some of the big ticket items. There's a lot of other kind of random things that happen through the day, but those are some of our big ones.
There's a lot of projects that the stormwater department does, like the Extreme Squad and leaf litter pickup. So tell me about some of the programs that you've been implementing and how those benefit our city.
Yeah, so another one of those like extra things that we do is we have to do public education and outreach. So my favorite program that we have is we have the Extreme Squad, which is basically a volunteer stream cleanup that we do every month in the warmer months, where we get into the streams and we clean out litter and debris, things that have built up. But we try to target more of what I would call our forgotten streams. So the smaller ones that are sometimes like tucked behind an industrial area that people might not even know exists. So if people were going out and doing a stream cleanup on their own, they might not think of it. So it's kind of some of those areas that we want to target just to keep them cleaner, because people might not ever even see them, but the wildlife is still affected. So we do that every second Saturday, pretty much April through September. October's a little iffy. Sometimes it's too cold. But we try to do it every month, and it's a small group. We typically do about 6 or 7 volunteers, and then we kind of carpool out to the site, and it's a good time. Everybody has fun, and we typically get like 25 bags of trash when we do it, and random things like ladders and tents and weird stuff, but we pull it all out and think we have a really positive benefit from that. We also, I know you mentioned the leaf litter pickup. That's an initiative that really that helps us to prevent some of that quantity issues, where we want to try and help prevent flooding as much as we can, because when the leaves fall, a lot of times they will block up our culverts or storm drains and things like that. So if we give people the opportunity to get their leaves taken away, then we can prevent some of the more blockages from happening. But the way that works is we have people rake their leaves into piles close to the road, and then we come through with our leaf truck vacuum, and we just suck them all up and take them away. And we ran it a little bit differently last year, which we think worked really well, and we hope to do that again in the future, where we had people submit a request for pickup online, and then we would just come out that week sometime to pick up the leaves, rather than running cycles through the city, because for us we were worried about the leaves blowing away, so it helped us to be able to be like, okay, they're ready today, let's go. And people responded well to it. And I think that they were able to get, some people have a lot of trees that fall at different times, so to be able to get the leaves picked up multiple times throughout the season was really helpful. So we're excited to do that again this year. I think those are some of our more popular programs. Those are our more involved ones. We do a lot of education things too, where we'll go and sometimes I'll go and speak at the high school just to do some career things, to talk about this is how you can be involved in stormwater. This is how you can tell everybody else, like, don't litter, don't put that in the water, how you can be a responsible citizen for our waterways. And those are always fun. We do that with a lot of different age groups. We'll do some education with young kids to say, hey, you're learning right now young that this water is really important, and you can make an impact.
And that was kind of your Creekside Saturday that you did recently,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. We just had our partnership event with the library. We call it Creekside Saturday, where we get to do a lot of different things that are all related to water. We do a water-themed story time. We do I do a critter collection on the side of the creek, and I get to show all the kids what lives in there, which is really fun. I love to do that, and they love to do it. We all get very excited about all the things we catch. And we do a scavenger hunt, a water-themed, stormwater-themed scavenger hunt, and then we get to do a bunch of water play we have little squirt guns, and what else is over there? Oh, we have a little car wash thing that sprays water on all the kids, and they get to run through it. It's very fun. It's a really cool event, and it's kind of meant to be this, we're bringing together education and learning about stormwater and learning about books and all those things. It's great. It's probably one of my favorite events for the year. I think those are some of our fun things that we do.
So how can people get involved with those stormwater initiatives?
So if they visit our little corner of the city website, we have them all listed on there. And we also have all of our events posted online where you can see. And then most of the time they have the link that's on there where if you want to sign up for a volunteer event, the link should all be listed in there with the event and the date that it's on, and then I'll reach out to you and let you know what you need to bring, what you need to do. If you're interested in the leaf litter program, that one, it's all still on our website, so you can see kind of what dates we get started and when we run the program, and then just submit an application and we'll get out there. And for any education stuff, if you are a teacher or you're somebody with a local group and you're interested in doing some type of water education, you can always reach out to me. I don't have my phone number memorized, but if you're interested, it'll probably be listed in the bio of this podcast somewhere. And you can always reach out to me and we can get something figured out. Yeah. And that's the easiest way, really, to get involved with anything stormwater, is just to give me a call or shoot me an email, and we can get it figured out.
Well, is there anything else about engineering or stormwater that I didn't touch on that you guys think would be really interesting for our citizens to know about? I want to thank you so much for joining me today. We've been talking with City Engineer Gary Lide and Stormwater Coordinator Alex Thompson. For more information on the Laverne Stormwater or Engineering departments, visit lavernetn.gov. Until next time, I'm Anne Smith. Thanks for joining us.